We wanted you to have the rest of the day to try and process what we've come to ask you about. My mind raced, full of uncertainty. Why? I said, interrupting her. What have you come to ask me? The officer seemed a little unsure of herself and turned to her older colleague for backup. It became apparent the dark-haired woman was her boss, as she now stepped in and took charge. Gaia, could you please sit down for a moment? She gestured with a nod of her head to a chair directly behind me, and that's when I realised I was still standing. I perched myself on the edge of the chair as I waited for them to say whatever it was they'd come to say. Could one of you just please tell me what this is about? The senior officer cleared her throat and began to explain. As officers with the National Crime Agency, we have been investigating historical offences following the recent failings in both Rotherham and Rochdale. Our work is part of a special task force, and we've been looking into the historical sexual exploitation of girls. The breakfast I'd enjoyed only an hour earlier threatened to claw its way back up my throat. I listened in horror and tried hard not to vomit as a series of intrusive thoughts flashed across my mind. Men, lying on top of me, hot breath clawing against the skin of my neck as I tried to pull myself free. Black eyes, smashed glass on the floor, a broom handle. I gulped down a rising panic and shook my head to try and rid it of the barbaric memories. A wardrobe door. A horrible crunching noise as it slams against my face, skin, tissue and bone disintegrating, splintering. I shuddered and tried to compose myself. A slick of sweat coated both hands and my skin grew clammy as though a fever had just taken hold. I wrung both hands together anxiously as my face flushed and burned with... what? Shame? Anger? I couldn't be sure, as the urge to vomit intensified. These women, these strangers, were inside my home discussing a past I'd spent years trying to erase. A past I'd buried deep within me. In the space of a few moments, that same past had risen to the surface and was now living and breathing inside my front room. It had arrived unexpectedly with the knock at the door and come kicking and screaming back into my life, the one I'd spent years painstakingly carving out for me and my boys. My hands trembled, and soon the rest of my body joined in. I glanced up to find both officers staring straight at me. The dark-haired one had opened her mouth as though she was about to say more. Instinctively, I closed my eyes and swallowed hard to try and prepare myself. There was worse to come. Gaia, we have been trawling through the records of hundreds of girls who had been reported missing in the late 1990s and early 2000s. And you have been identified to us as one of those girls. Subconsciously, I rubbed my fingers against my wrist as more memories rose to the surface. Tight parcel tape holding me down, sprained wrists. Gaia? It was the senior officer, but I couldn't answer her. My heart beat so fast that I was finding it difficult to breathe. The fussy wallpaper in my front room began to swirl, the walls bending and narrowing as though they were closing in on me. I panted, sweating with fear, and stumbling to my feet, I staggered over to the window. Hot. The room is too hot. I can't breathe. Gaia, are you... a voice started to say. The intense heat faded as I rested my forehead against the cold, damp glass. Breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Outside, it was a cold, fresh autumnal day, and right now I needed air. Turning the chrome latch, I pushed the window open. I wasn't sure what I needed to do first, breathe or throw up. A gust of air brushed against my face, calming me. I gulped it down greedily. Cold air flooded into the radiator-hot room, leaving a distinct